Here's your Farm and Ranch report from the Montana Ag Network.
And good morning, everybody. It's time for your Farm and Ranch news. Well, despite the challenges of some higher tariffs against U.S. beef versus its major competitors, sales to Japan continue to look awful good. In fact, Japan is part of the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, the trade deal that actually replaced the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, after the U.S. left those negotiations. Now, that agreement did lower tariffs on beef exports for some of the U.S.'s largest competitors. Despite that challenge, though, Dan Hallstrom, President and Chief Executive Officer of the U.S. Meat Export Federation, says the industry has managed to continue to perform relatively well in Japan.
We're flat in Japan, $2.1 billion in sales. And that's in the face of some very stiff headwinds with the differential duty of 12 to 13% difference versus Australia. The problem is that number only gets bigger over time. So that's the bad news. The good news is the administration is getting some momentum on a Japan-U.S. ag fast-track deal. So we're enthusiastic about the possibilities there of doing something sooner rather than later.
Now, he says the quality of U.S. beef is key in supporting exports to Japan, and in anticipation that a new trade deal will soon be struck between the U.S. and Japan, he says U.S. MEF is working diligently to protect its market share from those competitors. And it's also important to remember that regardless, Japan remains the U.S. beef cattle industry's #1 export market. Stay with us. We'll have more ag news right after this.
Roots, they anchor CHS to Montana. CHS is your partner for feed, for fuel, for agronomy, for grain. CHS is the largest agricultural cooperative in the world. CHS leads because our owners know this land and know how to make the most of this modern farming world. CHS is your cooperative. CHS, creating connections to empower agriculture.
Am I ever a lucky tire? My days are always filled with adventure. In the mountains, getting dirty, up early, and home late. I'm a Cooper, so I can get through the most rugged terrain with the peace of mind my owner needs. But if anything ever does happen, I always know Tire-Rama will take care of me. Right now, you can save up to $145 on a new set of qualifying Cooper tires, including the Discoverer AT3, STT Pro, and ST Max. Offer ends August 31st. Visit your neighborhood Tire-Rama or TireRama.com for details.
Well, Deere & Company has provided some fresh evidence of weakening conditions in the U.S. manufacturing sector, saying lower demand for U.S. farm commodities is discouraging farmers from buying its machinery. Now, Deere's quarterly sales of tractors, combines, and other farm and ranch equipment fell 6% from a year earlier, as profit from the farm equipment business dropped by 24%. Besides trade uncertainty, Deere said rainy weather that delayed spring planting of crops and weakening equipment sales in Canada also contributed to falling equipment sales in the quarter. The company cut production of farm equipment this spring to lower inventories at its dealerships, and Deere said Friday it would continue to initiate additional cost reductions to help improve the efficiency of its operation. And finally, Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Andrew Wheeler has announced that the EPA will reevaluate the use of M44 devices to control wild animals that prey on livestock and other animals. The news withdraws EPA's interim registration review decision on sodium cyanide, the compound used in M44 devices to control wild predators. USDA is currently the primary registrant, along with 5 other state departments of agriculture, including Montana, New Mexico, South Dakota, Texas, and Wyoming. Now, livestock organizations like the American Sheep Industry Association fully support the M44 and livestock protection collar and say they'll continue to work closely with the EPA and the Trump administration as they conduct this further review. Of course, predator control is a huge priority for livestock organizations like the American Sheep Industry Association and others. That does it from the Ag Desk. Have a great day.